I used to believe success would make them see me, that if I built something huge enough, bright enough, it would blind them into finally noticing I existed. But when I stood at the top of everything I'd built, all I saw was the same closed door that had been there my whole life. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. This is my confession about the empire I built out of ashes they never cared to sift through. My name's Eli Mercer, and this is how Thanksgiving broke the curse of being invisible. A tea started with a text from my dad. Just a small dinner this year, son. Your sister Nora, her husband, the kids. Hope you understand. Hope I understand. I stared at the screen until the words blurred, and my chest felt like it was being packed with concrete. I typed back, "Enjoy yourselves." That was it. But inside I was collapsing in slow motion. All my life I was the afterthought in my own family story. Nora, the golden child. Every dinner table orbiting her achievements. When I was 14, I'd built a small robot from spare metal and stubbornness. I ran into the living room holding the trophy like it was the sun itself. Dad barely looked up from his paper. "That's nice, Eli." Then he turned to Mom. "Did you hear? Nora's solo was flawless. The music director says she's Juilliard material." My certificate ended up under a pile of bills, forgotten before dinner. That became the rhythm of my life, me always a half step behind her spotlight. When I got into Caltech, Dad frowned and said, "That's far." Mom smiled politely. "If you're sure about that tech stuff." Nora texted congrats, then disappeared again. No hug, no celebration, just silence. College was brutal. I called home sometimes, but Dad was always helping Nora plan her wedding, and Mom was too busy babysitting her grandkids to be. When Nora got married, the whole thing looked like a royal broadcast. Chandeliers, string quartets, 300 guests. I wasn't a groomsman. I wasn't even in the photos. I ended up refilling ice buckets while they danced under fairy lights, pretending not to see me. Years passed like that. Holidays were just reminders that I was a visitor in my own family. I'd show up, fix their Wi-Fi, watch them unwrap gifts, and then slip out quietly before dessert. They never visited me once, but they went on cruises with Nora's in-laws. I saw the pictures online. Sunsets, champagne, perfect smiles. I graduated top 5% in my class. They came to the ceremony, but left early. Nora's daughter had a ballet recital T28. I launched my first startup, a machine learning app. It failed spectacularly. I lost 50 grand and most of my hope. When I called home, Mom said, "Maybe you're just not cut out for risk. Nora's firm is doing great. Ask her for guidance." I hung up without saying goodbye. That night, I sat in my tiny Chicago apartment, watching the radiator hiss like it was mocking me. I didn't cry. I just stopped expecting anything. But I kept going. I got a job. Worked like a machine. 3 years later, I was a director. And then I quit. Everyone said I was insane. But I knew I'd rather drown building something that was mine than live quietly in someone else's shadow. That's when I built Sentinel Vault, a cybersecurity platform that would either save me or bury me for good. I worked 20-hour days, slept in my office, lived on ramen and caffeine. 6 months in, I called Dad, voice trembling. "I just need a $10,000 loan to keep the company alive." He sighed. "Eli, I told you. Find something stable. Nora's firm just won a big case." That was the last time I asked for help. But then it happened. Sentinel Vault landed a contract with a major retailer. Then a hospital chain. Then a government deal. Overnight, I went from almost broke to negotiating 7-figure contracts. Still, I kept quiet. I let them think I was still struggling because it didn't matter anymore. Or at least, that's what I told myself. A year later, a global conglomerate offered me $520 million. I signed the papers, laughed until my throat burned, then cried harder than I ever had. I bought a sleek Chicago penthouse and an 80-acre ranch in Wyoming, where the sky looked big enough to hold everything I'd been through. I poured my soul into it, stone, glass, firelight, silence. I pictured my family there, proud, amazed, maybe even a little sorry. Then came the text. "Just Nora and her family this year. Hope you understand." Something inside me shifted. It wasn't rage this time. It was clarity. I was done begging for a seat at a table that was never built for me, so I built my own. I called everyone they'd written off. Uncle Ben, Aunt Rosa, cousins, old friends from Caltech, even the early Sentinel Vault crew. 45 people in total. I hired a chef who'd cooked for presidents. Flew guests out in private jets. Got a photographer, a live band, gifts for every child. This wouldn't be revenge. It would be resurrection. 2 days before Thanksgiving, Nora called. Hey Eli, what's your plan for the holiday? I'm covered, I said flatly. With who? Family, I said. The kind that shows up. I hung up. My pulse was steady for the first time in years. Thanksgiving morning, the ranch glowed gold under the sun. The smell of roasted herbs and wood smoke filled the air. Uncle Ben's old truck rumbled up the drive first. He stepped out, eyes wide. Eli, this is yours? All of it, I said. He hugged me like he was afraid I'd vanished. By noon, the place was alive. Kids laughing, cousins exploring trails, friends arguing about tech by the fire pit. The table was set like a dream, turkey glistening, wild mushroom risotto steaming, pecan pies shining like amber. I stood, glass in hand. This is for the ones who never stopped believing I could be more. Aunt Rosa wiped her eyes. To Eli, she said softly, who built something out of nothing and shared it with everyone who mattered. Then the front door creaked open. I turned. An old man in a leather jacket stood there, wind snapping at his collar. My grandfather, Thomas. You think I'd eat dry turkey in Ohio? He chuckled, hugging me. Told your parents I was sick. Booked a red-eye instead. I laughed, choked, and just held him. Dinner was chaos and joy. Laughter echoed through the hall. For the first time in decades, I felt full. Seen. Then my phone buzzed. Nora. Holy hell, Eli. That ranch. You're rich? Mom and Dad are losing it. I showed Grandpa. He smirked. Good. Let them stew a while. The next morning my phone rang again. Dad. What the hell is this? Pictures of you in some palace? With my father. He wanted to come, I said. So I invited him, and everyone else you cut off to impress Nora's in-laws. Silence. Then Mom's voice trembling. How'd you afford all this? I sold Sentinel Vault, I said quietly, for $520 million. There was a choking sound. Then Dad hissed, You did this to humiliate us. No, I said. I did this because you left me out one too many times. I wanted Thanksgiving with people who care. Grandpa gestured for the phone. I hit speaker. You ignored this boy for years, he growled. Worshipped Nora and left Eli to rot. He built an empire with his own hands. Be proud or be quiet. Mom whispered, We're not envious. But her voice cracked. Dad muttered, We'll talk soon, and hung up. That weekend was the best of my life. Snowball fights, late-night poker, stories by the fire. When Grandpa left, he gripped my shoulder and said, Make them earn your respect, Eli. You're worth it. Days later, Nora texted again. I've always envied you. You took risks, failed, got up. I just followed their rules. I'm sorry. I stared at the message for a long time. Forgiveness felt close, but not yet. That Thanksgiving wasn't revenge. It was a rebirth. I stopped waiting to be invited. I built my own table and filled it with people who showed up. If you've ever felt invisible, if you fought to prove your worth, tell me your story in the comments. How did you rise when no one believed in you? I'm Eli Mercer, and this is the empire I forged, not from money, but from every scar they gave me.